Okay, so I'm going to review the Zoomchak first. I'm using an old version of FL Studio. Don't worry about that. I'm going to teach the newer version of FL Studio later. The reason why I'm doing that is so that I can write some notes here on a pattern and have it play those notes so I can see what this thing sounds like. So my first impressions here, I don't see anywhere where we can store sounds. Looks like the only place we can do that is in the built-in FL Studio settings. First things first, let's hear this thing. Every synth has like kind of a default sound, and I guess that's what theirs is. Go ahead and do some adjustments. Okay, so I adjusted the sustain down all the way and the decay here. So we got a tighter sound now. So yeah, I'm going to adjust the attack down on the filter envelope because you normally use that for like strings. And then I'm also going to adjust the low pass filter here, which is kind of like your cutoff frequency on other synths. It's got a lot of range, like that. So yeah, moving this Q section is kind of like the resonance filter, and then that's the high pass, so it's got a different kind of range. So between those four levers, you can do a lot. Okay, so let's get into this oscillator section here. There's 3 of them. And this is where you're going to shape all your tone. This is where your initial tone comes from. Okay, so this is common in most analog modeling synths. You're going to see this a lot. There's 2 knobs each for different waveforms in each oscillator, and then there's also a mix section up top. Okay, so that doesn't move the sound very much. Okay. So you can shape the tone a little bit with both of these knobs. I guess it's a combination of everything. Alright, let's go ahead and turn everything off, except for the first one, and then start dialing in from there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add that second one. Okay, pretty much the same thing, not drastic changes. I guess it's a matter of sweeping the knob to find the sound you like. So these waveforms aren't changing the sound a lot, regardless of what I do. I'm going to go ahead and bring that third one in here. It's nice being able to have separate controls to adjust the volume on these 3 different oscillators to dial in the sound. Another thing they let you do here is adjust octaves per oscillator. So you can do things like drop this one oscillator down an octave, put this one up maybe, and each, the half steps are half an octave, so you can shape the sound like that too. Okay, let's talk about the Zoomchak here. The ease of use was pretty good. I was able to figure out most of the sounds relatively quickly. The range of sounds was not as good as I've seen in other synthesizers. There were no preset sounds, but there was room to store your own. Also, there were no internal effects, but you could use the effects from the DAW you were using. Now I'm going to look at the VK-1 Moog Like synthesizer, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom this in. Okay, so you'll see that you've got your 3 oscillators here in the middle, and then a mix section right next to that. And then you've got your filters, and then your filter envelope and a volume envelope. So it's very similar to what we were just reviewing. And I like that it's got a really big volume knob down there in the bottom. Go ahead and start it. Okay, so I can't use the default sound. That's not going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and try to pick a different preset here. There's quite a few in here. So we'll start with the bass sound. The idea is that you want to start with something that's close to what you're looking for and go from there. Okay, you got a nice 80s bass sound here. I'm going to start with this one. Okay, I'm adjusting the cutoff. Has a lot of range, I like that. You kind of lose all of your decay when you crank it up too much. Alright, put it right about there. Yeah, if you have the sustain too loud, then yeah, on the filter and the regular envelope, it's going to just drag out like that. So you got to kind of dial it back in order to get it more of a bass sound. You can also get a lot shorter if you bring the decay all the way down. Okay, so if you adjust the cutoff, you can also get the full range of low end. Okay, let's get into these oscillators. You've got 3 of them, like the other ones. I'll go ahead and start this. And I'm going to leave that up the middle and leave that like right about there so I'll get the full sound. Okay, I'm going to adjust the decay on the envelope for volume so it's a little bit more bass-like, right about there. Yeah, we got a couple things here. You've got your octave range. Yeah, you got one of those per oscillator, which is kind of nice. Then you've got a mixer section right there. Well, you have on-off switches, which is kind of handy. You got to really switch them and toggle them though. And then you've got your waveforms on the one knob down here. It is powerful to have a knob so you can actually balance in between waveforms. Okay, so on that second oscillator, make sure that's on and dial that in a little bit. Let's see what I can do. Let's make sure they're all turned on there. Okay, that's a lot of low. Better stacking them. The main takeaway here is that it's fairly easy to get a sound right away with this. You can just get something dialed in within the first couple of minutes. And that is the power of this synth. Okay, let's go ahead and review the Viking VK-1. So as far as ease of use, it was just as good and just as easy to use as the Zoomchak. The oscillator sound range were not as good as I thought they would be, but it's really good for synth bass and lead instruments. There are quite a few preset sounds that the VK-1 came with, and that's really useful because then you can start with a closer sound that you're looking for and then make changes from there. Once again, there were no internal effects with this VST. As always, if you have any questions, you can contact me at studioonaBudget@gmail.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks.